Sister Ajali. Um, I took a nice little break, and I will continue to do that until I finish my upcoming novel, which is just, oh, it's so scary because it's so good. So, in the meantime, before I even get started with this, go on over, rush on over to 25,000yearcycle.org and get your heal on. There's real products made by, myself and Dr. Z. Now, this is a strange share for me to start off on because I don't like celebrities. And Halle Berry would firmly be in that ranking for me. Someone like Simone Biles, I can't say I love or adore Simone Biles, but I like what she's doing. I really admire, and anybody who's an athlete, to me, you are naturally amazing because you challenge what waylays most of us. I know I'm never going to be no international top ranking, the best in history gymnast in my entire life. So I'm astounded by what athletes do. However, I'm definitely not astounded by Halle Berry and what she does. Halle Berry was given, I think, in 2006, a script for Storm so that she would come back to their, sequence of the second one, third. I don't watch these movies because I cannot stand lies. And even things that if I'm going to be able to suspend my disbelief, I have to believe in you, the creators of this project or any project. And when it comes to white folks, I have lost all my faith in them. And that's a good thing because there's no truth in them based on history, based on everything that they do and conduct in their media, in their businesses, in their institutions. It's just nonstop genocidal ridiculousness. And thus I lost the first X-Men. I was like, okay, but also just that's personal. I just am not into all the massive over the top superhero ness, but especially when it's based on lies. So Halle Berry, who had been chosen as Storm, was given a fake script for, I guess it's the second one, where they had at the beginning of the script it was a big thicker uh book than the other script that they were saying, well, this is what we're going to be working with all the other actors. And the supposed director for that version was Vaughn Matthews. I don't know, Vaughn, some guy named Vaughn. And he actually quit based all over how huge the discrepancy was, because he said at the beginning of the script they had a whole extra scene where Storm starts out in Africa, uh, saving all her people, doing whatever. All it is, it's based on white boy fantasies about us, and also understanding that these entertainment vehicles are propaganda, they're brainwashing tools in order to control populations. I don't know how deep Operation Paperclip goes, or is it Operation Mockingbird? They got so many operations. But where at every single news media, there's a CIA operative, a CIA representative to ensure that you get nothing but their lies. And I would just hazard an extension of that with every single hella weird vehicle we see, it's just so monotonous. The propaganda, the storyline to get black you and me, not primarily, but sort of coincidentally, because they don't need us to agree with their just disgusting depictions. They're trying to add new stereotypes to what they want the world to think of us. They don't need you and me, but at the same time, if they can convince us to be constantly at loggerheads with each other, so that, oh, it's all the black man's fault, oh, it's all the black woman's fault, then that's a wonderful thing naturally for white people. They feel most comfortable in that realm. They don't even have to get together with the CIA or have someone there to make sure they tailor their propaganda. That is what they have a comfort level with, because the truth for them feels like the enemy. It's not simply that they want to lie, it's that the truth for them feels dangerous. It feels, they don't have to think about race as long as there's this tyrannical superstructure that everybody takes for a given, that the white man is God, the white woman is the goddess. As long as everybody takes that as a matter of fact, then they don't worry about on an individual basis if everything's okay. When it starts falling apart, then they start on an individual basis feeling really, really minuscule and just picayune. Oh, we will not be replaced. It's okay to be white. All that sort of stuff they have to bring up because you are not capable of being loved if you're not lovable. And I'm really peaceful. I don't want to hurt white people. I'm not like Black Lives Matter at all, which is funded by George Soros. I want real peace and real freedom, and I want us to understand the deluge of radiation that is being thrown across the planet because of their freakishly fragile psychology. And so in the original just introduction of Storm, it was in a comic book. I'm not going to get up here and try to pretend that I know about comic books like the real people who know about comic books, but I read a little bit about it where Storm was introduced and I don't know, but I think she was the first Black Marvel superhero character. And I find this drawing very interesting because she is demonstrably black, and she as a character is supposed to have hailed from a long line of Kenyan high priestesses. And yet, because it is a white boy creation, a white boy fantasy, on top of having the white hair, and I see all the time. That's why I don't watch this stuff. If there's any black person with any kind of superhero characteristics, they got to give them blue eyes. Come on, really? That's because they're not comfortable with the truth of our pure blackness, of who we are. And so they got Halle Berry. People could say, oh, well, but that's because that's what winds up happening. And that's how all this attaches to how Halle Berry didn't even protect herself. She didn't protect herself. This director Vaughn was one who unquitting, the savior one white dude. When that's a whole nother lie right there, because they're never going to rescue us so we could just have our own sovereignty, so we could snap out of it and realize we need to write our own stories. We need to support those who have the nerve to write unapologetically black narratives for us, because these dudes will have us written up in history as punctified. Right before they went out of existence, they all went into perversion. You can't create sane families from any of that. So they just kind of whittled themselves out of existence with a firm tyrannical help from us, okay? And so Halle Berry suffers from it's a disease. It's a spiritual disease when you are not white. And you have faith and belief in whiteism. Because Halle Berry is like, is seriously white boyed up. I know this is Hugh Jackman. I don't know if they ever dated or anything of the sort like that. This is just them promoting the X-Men movies or movie, whichever one. But we all know about Halle's troubles in court with the white guys that she just runs to a slew of them, and so people speculate over what's happening with that, and that she's supposed to be the spoiled brat in these relationships, so that these guys are all get with her real quick, and she just she just has no sane expectations. And a lot of these helly weird actresses, all races, tend to have just overarching expectations from any type of relationship they get into, that the man is supposed to, you get spoiled by having a whole bunch of people just blow smoke in your head about how amazing you are. But in a real relationship, it still follows Allah's rules on the dynamics of how a man and woman are going to act in a relationship. Very few men worth their salt are going to want, I would say pretty much none, are going to want to be with a second mother. And so if you come in barreling in with this like personality that needs to be catered to in whatever way, whether you have low self-esteem or truly just egomaniacal concept of who you are, and that's low self-esteem too. But that's not going to work out with a man who really just by his own nature wants to feel self-respect. And so I don't know what happened, but that's all part of the, spiritual disease of believing in whiteism. That somehow or another, rather than working on yourself, these white men are just going to be magically perfect for you. And so now she has a black-like boyfriend. And you know what? She's biracial, so she's not black, right? But neither is her boyfriend. I do believe he's also biracial, but whatever. He's more in line with her phenotype, so that their natures would have a more harmonious interaction. Maybe because dysfunction pulls no punches. You could be the deepest, most beautiful black person out there, and if you are not just humble so you could take in the lesson, then you are going to have pain, because even people who are functional have a lot of pain sometimes, and you just gotta learn lesson through that, right? And so, and she's being sued where she's paying these former husbands child support payments, alimony payments, and she just would keep going back to these white people as if they were going to live up to her fantastical notion of who they are. And she just has had plenty of time to question what the heck is going on here. It's like, what? A fake script. Now, when actors sign on board to do a film or whatever project, they know that their whole character, their whole, whatever they film could just be lost on the cutting room floor. However, Halle Berry, when she, saw the premiere of the film, do you think that she didn't notice that they didn't have that Africa part in there anymore? And then she went on to do more of these X-Men movies, where I know for me, money is not enough at all to just sell up your soul. That just, what have you got if you don't have self-respect? If you don't like yourself off camera, why would you ever want to get on camera? And so she went on and she did other X-Men after she got to see, oh, what happened to that? So she could have at least protested and said, and you know how you cut out the scene that I wanted to do. And I would think that they didn't even film the scene. So right on the set of this X-Men, The Last Stand, she would have known I've been given a smoke and dance. But they're not even, this article isn't even about her. It's about Matthew Vaughn, who he quit over this. So he knew they were doing their white boy best to just rope in. They didn't even have, I don't think they would have had to have done a script with Storm doing something helpful for her own African people, right? But obviously, because she didn't say anything when she went on the sets and was filming, and there was no scene about Africa. But this guy, this white dude, quit. But then he went on to direct other X-Men's. So I'm just saying, we got to leave these people alone. Separation is the only solution. It's that simple. That's all I need to say on this, because this is silly. I got other stuff that I'm going to talk about tomorrow, whatever, maybe the day after tomorrow, that's real, that will assist in our separation, because it goes over the reality that these pale folks have brought to our planet, because they are not good thinkers. They are not long-term strategizers. We got to get off of our just reverence and awe for everything they do, so that if they're not talking about Fukushima and man-made radiation, we think it must not be real. And that's the reason why all this crap, the Hamas, Israeli, ain't got a damn thing to do with us, other than they're trying to rope us into stuff. I don't give a damn, okay? I just want us to separate, because even that spiritual separation from their lies gives you a whole nother means of feeling powerful, but for real, not for fake, where you don't need their opinion about nothing, because you know they're about nothing. Where the Creator, submitting to Him, that's everything. Straight Black family pride is our map to forever. Go on over to 25,000yearcycle.org, and I thank you two amazing listeners who put in orders for my soap. Oh, you are going to enjoy that so very much, I know, because I make my soap with real ingredients. I could not come before you, and I would be selling you a bunch of malarkey. Peace and blessings.